Coucou tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez bien. My name is Layla and welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from my last video, we went to Guatemala and I wanted to do a breakdown of how much we spent from arrival to departure. So this is what we are going to talk about in today's video. So with that being said, welcome to my life as Layla. I know that some people, when they're traveling, they create a specific type of budget. I don't usually do that unless I'm traveling with some of my friends who want to know how much they want to spend. So in terms of budgeting, the way that I usually approach it is by looking for different accommodation that fall under a certain type of budget and look for pricing for the flight. So for the flight, I look for pricing for a different time period because sometimes the flight to go somewhere will be more expensive around a certain time period. Let's say, for example, you're going to Brazil during the month of December. To be honest, during the month of December, it's expensive to go anywhere. But if you're going like after the holidays, the prices might be a little bit lower. So you need to keep that in mind and search for like different price in terms of like how much you want to spend. So when we were going to Guatemala, I looked for the price and the flights were pretty cheap, I'll say. I ended up paying more than I was expecting to because I waited kind of too long to book my flight, but we ended up spending around $321 per person for the flight to go there round trip. Now for accommodation, I usually do research to see which area is the best to stay, but there's one Airbnb at the lake that I really wanted to go to. I saw a video of it on TikTok and I started doing research. The videos that I saw, people were saying that it was $80 per night. I believe that they increased the price because by the time I booked it, it was around $190 or $200 per night. But even if it was like $200 per night, it was for two people. And last minute, my sister decided to come with us, and we ended up paying $200 more for the stay for her to come. So each one of us spent around $390, I believe, per person for the stay. It's like a studio type of Airbnb, and there was a room downstairs. We actually didn't use that room because all of us were too scared to go down at night, but it's a really nice room. We just use it like during the day to take nap or to rest before we go to the next activity. Now for transportation there, what it's mostly used are the tuk-tuk, and if you're going to the lake, you have to take a boat to the different villages. And the price kind of varies if you want to do public or private. So in terms of transportation from the airport to the lake to our Airbnb, we paid around 950 quetzales in total for 3 person. The rate kind of varies, and some of them might decide to charge you more because what ended up happening when we got there, when we did our calculation, it was supposed to be $124 and the driver told us that it was going to be $140. So what we did is that we exchanged the money and paid him in quetzales instead because it will be like cheaper to do that. Now if you want to exchange money, I wouldn't recommend to do it at the airport in Guatemala because the rate is like so bad. So if you don't get a chance to do it in the States before you leave, you can probably talk to the driver and he will be able to change a certain amount of money for you. And when you get to the lake or when you get to Antigua, you can just do it. So the driver did it for us for 7.40 quetzales for $1. But when we went at the lake, the other driver that we were using there, he did it for 7.25 quetzales. But when we got to Antigua, the hotel was going to do it for 7.85 quetzales. So just keep that in mind because when we were trying to exchange $1,000 in US dollar for all 3 of us at the airport, they were going to do it for a much lower price where it looks like we're paying about $300 our fee. So this is something to just keep in mind. So after that, when we arrived to the lake, it was a long drive. We drove for almost 5 hours. I don't know how, because technically when we were going back, it was actually 3 hours. We spent 15 minutes on the road to go from Antigua to the airport and 1 hour and 30 minutes from the lake to Antigua. So I don't know why it took us 5 hours, but we got there pretty late. So we were starving by the time we made it there, and we were planning to go back home and then go back to Pana to do that, but we asked our driver to stop there. So we got food for us and for the driver, and the total for the food was around 279 quetzales for 4 people. And then we tipped the driver 50 quetzales for one waiting for us, and two, because the drive was so long, we believed that it was a good idea to like give him some tips. Now from the second day, from the Airbnb to go to Little Spoon, which is in Pana, we took a driver, and they're saying that it's the same price as if you took a tuk-tuk. So we took a driver, and it was 75 quetzales in total. From what they are saying, it's 25 quetzales per person, but we kind of negotiated with the driver and ended up paying 70 quetzales for all 3 of us. So we were able to do that for like 2 days, but after they kind of were asking us for the 75 quetzales, and we figured out that it was the same price as if we were taking the tuk-tuk. When we got to Little Spoon, I ordered a breakfast sandwich with a drink. Let me tell you, I was getting limonada every single day. If you know me, you know I love my lemon juice, even if it's technically not good for me because I have acid reflux sometimes, but I love my lemon juice. It reminds me of home. So I'm going to order it with every single meal. And it was natural juice, not the one that they serve us here in the United States. For food and drink, I paid 63 quetzales, and that was only my meal. So we paid separately, which was fine. We didn't pay a 10% fee, but some restaurant, mostly like the more popular one, they would charge you 10% fee. Then this is where we started like trying to negotiate, but we couldn't because we didn't really speak Spanish that much, but I really tried. So to go to from Pana to go to San Juan or San Pedro, they have a deal where you pay 50 quetzales in total, so it'll be round trip when you pay that 50 quetzales. But for some reason, to go to San Marcos, they were saying that it's 30 quetzales to go, and then when you're coming back, you just have to figure it out with the boat that comes to pick you up. It makes no sense because technically San Juan is like further away compared to San Marcos, so I don't understand why they were making us pay more. But that day we were running so late, so we didn't want to delay the time even longer, so we decided to pay the 30 quetzales. But the next day, not the next day, like 2 days after, we were going to Casa del Mundo, which is like a stop, kind of stop before San Marcos, and they asked us for 25 quetzales per person. So we ended up paying the same price as if we were going to San Juan. I don't know if they scam us, but we paid the 30 quetzales, and they really didn't want to take the 25 from us. So that's what we did. But when we're coming back, we actually paid 25 quetzales from San Marcos to Pana. And after that, when we got to the yoga, so for the yoga, we initially paid $20 USD for the yoga session. It was supposed to be a normal yoga session, but we got there so late, like 1 hour late. So we had to schedule another one, and we didn't want to leave to come back because it would have been like more money, because 30 to go back, that's what we thought at first, but 30 to go back to San Marcos, or 30 to like go back to Pana and then come back to San Marcos was going to be too much. So we decided to wait and stay for another class, and for that other class we had to pay a little bit more. She mentioned that it was $7 US to pay on top of the 20, so it's supposed to be $27 for that class, and that amount that we paid more was 50 quetzales. And to get there, it's kind of confusing. We started walking because it's like a 15-minute walk from what the map was saying, but it made us go like further away, and we were like running so late, so we had to take a tuk-tuk because we didn't know where we were going. So we ended up getting a tuk-tuk to take us there, and he made us pay 25 quetzales for all 3 of us. After that, we went to La Reserva San Marcos, and there it was 20 quetzales per person to go inside of the reserve. And here, if you're a swimmer, I feel like it's a really nice place to go for a swim. Technically, the place where there's like 2 places that people jump from. There's one that is super high. I wouldn't recommend that because it's really scary, but there's another one that is like less scary. You can jump from there and then after like take a little swim and then get back up. I wanted to get in the water, but I feel like the only way to go down was to jump, and I was not feeling confident to do that. So we ended up not swimming and only visit the reserve. Then, as I mentioned before, we took a boat back to Pana and we paid 25 quetzales per person for that boat. Now, moving forward to what we purchased to eat. So the plan was to go to a restaurant, but we figured out that this place was in a different village, so we'll have to take another boat. And I didn't want to, I mean, none of us wanted to take a boat at night. So we ended up going to another place that our driver recommended to us. It's called Seven Cardos. And I paid 65 quetzales for my food. And I paid an additional 25 quetzales for my lemonade. Then we paid 70 quetzales in total for 3 of us to go back to the Airbnb. So at the end of the video, I will have a total of how much we paid in the conversion of that as well in US dollar. So after that, the next day we were going to San Juan and we already knew the price for the boat. So we paid 25 quetzales to go and 25 quetzales to come back. So if you're paying round trip, they're gonna give you a ticket. You just have to pay 50 quetzales. They give you a ticket, you get on the boat, and when you're coming back, you have to show them the ticket and they will just like get you to Pana. We paid that day, we paid 70 quetzales for 3 again for the tuk-tuk to go back, to go to the ferry, the boat station, and 50 quetzales round trip from Pana to San Juan, or from Pana, or from San Pedro, San Juan to Pana. And we went for breakfast. So we find a place, I don't quite remember the name of the place. We find a place that was on the way up where there's like a bunch of umbrella. So as soon as you get off the boat, you'll be able to find that place. And I paid 63 quetzales for breakfast, including both a meal and food and drink. So for my meal, I got like a typical Central American type of breakfast, I believe. It was egg, beans, sweet plantains, and they gave us like sides of tortillas, and I got a lemonade for my drink. And then we went to the place where the woman plays, and we tipped the lady 10 quetzales each one of us. Then took a tuk-tuk to go to San Pedro, and they were initially going to charge us 25 quetzales, but when we were going to San Juan, the boat driver told us that it was going to be 15 quetzales per person maximum. So we ended up paying 10 quetzales because we kind of negotiate with him, and another driver told us that they might be able to do it for 10 quetzales to try to negotiate with them, which is what we did, and we paid 10 quetzales for that trip to San Pedro. So now when they get to San Pedro, they are not going to drop you off around the area where there's like all the activities. I feel like they just drop you off at the border because each tuk-tuk have the name of the village where it's at. So the San Juan tuk-tuk cannot go to San Pedro, and the San Pedro tuk-tuk cannot go to San Juan. So they kind of have to drop you off at this limitation, and you have to take another tuk-tuk to the city portion. We had to pay another tuk-tuk because we didn't know how far it was. We didn't have enough information, and our internet was not working. We thought it was going to be similar to San Juan, where they drop you off and you're able to be like, we're in the main area where there's like all the food place and everything, but it was not the case. So we ended up taking another tuk-tuk, and for that one we paid again 10 quetzales to go to the city portion of San Pedro. When we got there, we visited a little bit and we decided to walk to a restaurant that we had on our list. It is called Sababa. So we went to Sababa for lunch. Actually, we didn't even get lunch. We actually only got one drink, and we spent more for that one drink than the breakfast that we had in the morning. So when we went to Sababa, we paid 49.50 quetzales per person. Mind you, it was just one drink. And that drink didn't even have alcohol in it. When we drank it, it felt like it was just pineapple juice. And I don't even like pineapple juice, but I wanted to get like a cocktail type. But it was really pineapple juice. So that's what we got. Then we took a tuk-tuk home from Pana to our Airbnb, and it was 25 quinzales per person this time. The guy mentioned that he only let us pay 70 quinzales per person in the morning because he didn't have any change any change, so we ended up paying 25 quinzales per person. So now he mentioned that to drive us to dinner, it was going to be a different price based on the time that you go. So if we're taking the tuk-tuk to go to dinner before 7, it's going to be 15 quinzales to go to the restaurant that we were going to. But if we're taking it after 7 p.m., it's going to be 20 quinzales because it's at night. So when we got to Kinnick, this is where we spent the most amount of money. And it was kind of crazy because when I saw the price, I was like, oh. But it was not really a lot when you convert it to US dollar. But this is the place where we spent the most amount of money. And none of us got drinks. And compared to the place that we went to Antigua the last night, we paid less there and each one of us had a drink. So if you're going to Kinnick, just know that the price will match the place because the place is really nice, the view is really nice, so I would recommend. But the food was not the best, but I really like the vibe, so I will give it to them. So when we went to Kinnick, we paid around $1,049 for 3 of us, and I personally paid 392.50 quinzales for my meal, and I didn't get any drink. It was like a shareable plate. It was like steak, and we got sides of potato and sides of potato and corn, and I shared it with my friend, and she got a drink, so she ended up paying more than me because of her drink. And here they charge the 10% service fee. Then we paid the 20 quinzales to go home. Then the next day we paid 25 quinzales to go back to the port, and 25 quinzales boat from the port to Casa del Mundo. And when you get to Casa del Mundo for the day pass, it's going to be 50 quinzales per person, which is around like $7 US dollars. And when you get to Casa del Mundo, if you don't have cash to pay in quinzales, they also take Zelle, so you can pay through Zelle, or I think they also have Venmo. Don't quote me on this, but I know that they have Zelle, and we ended up paying with Zelle and paid $7 per person. And we went to have breakfast at El Indigo, and I paid 159 quinzales for my meal, and it was a smoothie and a pasta. Then we paid 25 quinzales to go back to Para. Then for dinner, we went to a Peruvian restaurant, and I paid 102 quinzales for my meal, and my meal was 78 quinzales. And I took actually this time I got orange juice. It was fresh orange juice, and it was 24 quinzales for the orange juice. And we again paid 70 quinzales to go back to our Airbnb for 3, but we did tip our driver because he had to stop at the market to get some stuff for breakfast for the next day. And for that breakfast, I don't have the price in the stuff that we got for breakfast. I don't have the price in quinzales, but when I paid with my card, they only charged me $3.75, and we got egg, we got sausage, we also got detergent for our clothes, and we got water, and it was $3.75. Please, let's have this in New York, because every time I go out to just purchase 3 things at the grocery store in New York, I pay $50, which makes no sense. So let's get the $3 grocery for like small things. Thank you. To Pana, to take the bus to go to Antigua, it was 25 quinzales per person, And for the bus to go to Antigua, it was 125 quetzales per person. And the reason why it was this price is because we took the public bus. They're saying public, but it's not really public. It's kind of giving like a private vibe where they just pick you up and they drop you off at your location. They're just picking up multiple people. The difference between private and public is that private is just you, and the public is that in the bus you're going to be with other strangers, but it's giving kind of the same vibe as if you were taking a shuttle bus from your hotel to another place. That day we went to Obitenango and we paid 82 quetzales for 3 of us. For the Uber, we were able to find an Uber when we were in Antigua, so we paid 82 quetzales from the hotel to go there, and it's up in the mountains, so it was a 30-minute drive, and we paid 82 quetzales for all 3 of us. And to get into Obitenango, it was 55 quetzales per person to go inside and visit around. And this is where they have the green hand, and there's another place that is in front of it that has the red and gold hand. And I think it's like probably the same price, but we didn't go there because we're a little tired. And for dinner, it was about 859 quetzales for all of us, and each one of us had a different meal. I got the salmon, and it comes with one side. I got the salmon with potato and corn. My sister got the skirt steak with rice, and my friend got a different type of steak and a side of pesto rice and salad. And the sides were like so much, we were able to share it, and each one of us got a drink, and we ended up paying around 859 quetzales in total for all 3 of us. This is what I meant about like the price, because when we went to Kinet, we got less food, and it was way more than what we ended up paying at Casa Escobar. So that's how much we paid. And the following day we had breakfast at the Airbnb. It was really not good. Then after that we went out and we went to visit the Ark, then went to get a massage before we left, and it was 150 quetzales for it was 40 minutes, but the night before we had to sleep for 15 minutes for free, so we ended up paying 150 quetzales for a 55-minute massage. And then we got food before we left. I got 2 sandwiches and 1 lemonade, my last lemonade of the trip, and I paid around 66 quetzales for that meal. And it was also 125 quetzales from Antigua to go to Guatemala City to take our flight. So in total, that's how much we ended up paying, and it was really one of the cheapest cities that I've been. Most likely I don't pay that much when I go out, but the flight was not a lot, the accommodation was not a lot, so it's really not that expensive to go to Guatemala. If you want to go visit, they have really nice things. The locals are really nice, but it depends on the village that you go to. I feel like when we were in Pana, people were nicer compared to the people in San Pedro or San Juan. So just so you know, but it's a really nice place to visit, and I'm really glad that I got to do it with my friend and my sister. So this is how much we paid and how much we spent from arrival to departure, and I hope you liked today's video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.